So this week, some of us were, including me, were a little bit, I didn't feel a bit bemused, astonished, interested,
Taken
or maybe the right word, that
taken aback.
the company has taken the brochures away. Is that right, Björn? Is it all the brochures that they've been taking off?
Yeah, is it? Is it just South Africa or is it the whole world?
I'm sure it's probably just us. But who knows? We could find that out. So, but this is a paperless world that we are moving into. So the topic for our meeting today, we are the 5th of August, and we are talking about brochures and target marketing and how we move on ahead.
Right, thank you.
Sorry, Björn. So was that you, Rob?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So the removal of the brochures was, as I said, interesting, and there was a bit of a quite a few people on the Joburg group. Yes, Andre?
Clarify that it's the printed brochures, the electronic versions
Yes.
remain.
Yes, exactly. So it's the printed brochure. So that was what I was getting to. So we're living more and more in a paperless world. And the last couple of kit openings I've done, I've been fascinated to see that the QR codes, I'm getting the terminology now. QR codes are those little squares with all sorts of interesting zigzags on them. And you can then just point your camera at your thing, and it'll come up on your screen, and you can download it straight onto your camera, and then you've got it available to download and to print as you want. I think one of the advantages of having had the printed brochures was that they were beautifully done, glossy, and fairly inexpensive, because I have done price comparisons in the past. So we are now moving into that zone where we have to take more responsibility for ourselves. I reckon that's, I think, what I wanted to focus us on today. And Andre, I think you agreed with me on that. How do we then manage and keep on using brochures, and how, if we don't want to, if from the printed point of view? So everything is still available on the back office and on Team NeoLife, the app, for you to download and to send out to your customers, friends, or whoever it is, or using for social media. So I just, what was ringing through my head was, Meryl, your late Aunt Marion, and many others have said over the years, where information goes, product flows. I'll repeat it. Where information goes, product flows. So for a person like, I'm down memory lane now, Marion, she would be picking up interesting articles, printed articles, but in the latter years, they were coming off websites as well. And she would then, for her regular customers, she would print off, maybe it was 10 a month, Andre, maybe it wasn't even as many as more than that, but she would have a different, an update or a product update or something printed on it from her home printer, and she would stick that in for every customer. And I think that was one of her methods for keeping her customer group alive, because it's sort of an unspoken rule in this business. We have to work on keeping our customers alive. Yes, Andre.
In those days, where Marion used to put those I'll call them documents, and they some of them were quite, shall I say, amateurish in terms of their copying. You know, it would be a copy from a page of a book, and it would be all squiff and so on, but the information was there. But she would put that into delivered, where she'd be delivering the package to someone, and it would be in with the product. Well, that, of course, doesn't happen very much anymore, because most of us have product delivered directly from the company to the client. And so that is also kind of a move away from the and so that it sort of makes sense that the company no longer supplies the printed documents, because people aren't seeing people in the same way. It's a sea change actually in how business is done.
And I think we pat ourselves on the back that we are actually to use. So first of all, then, Andre, from what you're saying, then for someone like myself, I still do have a very strong I have generally been just thrusting in without much thinking, and using up my old pamphlets, etc., that I have bought over the years, you know, especially for things like when I do market days. That's another I find very successful. I would have a pile of them on the desk, not on the desk, on the table. You remember, Bjorn, when we did that last one, we had lots of pamphlets that we had bought, and I had, at that stage, I would be and I'm going to come to the targeting thing in a moment, to say cleaning products. So yeah, so your options are still then to have to print for yourselves, or whatever. You can ask a printing company or whatever to print from the back office if you wanted to have the printed ones. I am going to say to you that I think that they will probably be very expensive if you are doing 2 or 3 or 4. If it was a bulk print, then I would suggest you bring it to this group and we decide if any of us wanted to go together to do a bulk print on something. So what I'd rather suggest that we go the Marion route and put our own together as we go along. And because we have this WhatsApp facility, if we put something that's really interesting or useful, then just share it onto the group. But I think one of the disadvantages for those company ones, and it's a horrible reflection on our world today, actually, is that some of them are really dense in terms of the amount of reading you have to do. So I think personally, short and to the point, main advantages, main usage, especially with the cleaning products, and a little usage sheet, that sort of thing that we can do ourselves. I think that is a very good alternative route to go. Any comments, anyone? Okay. The other, in terms of the information, what is still in print is your product catalog. And I have decided in the last few months, I keep 1 or 2 in stock of these. If our customer is a full paying customer, and even when they're not sometimes, I am happily giving these out to people. They are 35 Rand. So if my profit is more than 35 Rand, I will sacrifice the profit and give them one of these. And I will say to them, listen, if you're not going to read it, please give it back to me. I don't tell them what it's cost. That's the average price of a magazine, by the way. I bought a Farmer's Weekly the other day just for the hell of it. And that was 30 Rand. So it's a generous gift, I think, if you give this out. But I would only give it out to somebody who is really genuinely interested. And I would probably focus them in onto, a lot of people these days are battling with gut and IBS, etc. Then I would focus them into that section in here. Maybe I'm being too generous. I don't know what people think. Might be better to actually copy off relevant bits. But there's something about a catalog that old-fashioned people like. It hangs around somewhere next to a bed or somewhere, and every now and then they pick it up and look at it. I would also, now that I'm talking to you, I must actually give a couple of these to the homeopath who buys products regularly to put into her rooms. And for doctors and medical people, I think this is probably a very, very useful one to put into their hands. Yeah, it's always that sort of part of a budget. Once you start thinking about how as your business starts growing, how much of your budget are you going to put into this stuff? So maybe that needs to be something that you can plan for yourself as your business grows. How much of this marketing material do you want to put out there for people to look at? But certainly, if you could get them into the doctors' waiting rooms, there's still magazines lying around there by the ton. But if you're going to do that, make sure you staple your card on, or put a sticker, or write your name on it with your details, your website, especially your website. So what I'm going to ask you, if you put something together, please share it with us on the group, and so that everybody can use it if necessary, if they would like to. Is that okay? This is yes, this is no. That's what Aldo. Do you remember Andre? What's the American guy's name? Rico Brown. When at his meetings and everybody's looking at him trying to work out his accent.
No.
He always goes, "This is yes, this is no."
Can I just pop in there?
Yes, Andre.
Some years back, I think Drew, before he was in head office, put together some things, and I haven't been able to track them down, but they were really very useful. They were, I'll call them flyers, but it was basically one page, that you could see in full on say a WhatsApp. And he took different products. He had all the cleaning products separately. He had the kids' products. And he just had a photograph of the product, and he had a list of benefits or whatever, and he had his contact details, and we could all use those and put our own contact details. So what I'm suggesting is that those of us who have put it up on the group, and we can ask for a bit of critique where people could say, well, it would be, maybe you could add this, or maybe that's, maybe we can fine tune it, and we can create those for our group. Because I think Monica was correct that people have become reading or content averse. If there look to be too many words, they leave it for later, and later never comes. But if they have something like a picture of Super 10 and 3 advantages and 3 usages just in bullet form, a reminder if they need to order, and it's a bit of information for someone who's never heard about it, etc. And it's so easy to send, and it can also become something that we rotate in those. Do you call it your signature or something? What's it called, Monica? That thing you put up on WhatsApp and it lasts for 24 hours?
Oh, status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will undertake to prepare one such thing as an example. I don't promise it'll be perfect by any means, but it'll be an idea. And then people can respond to that. And maybe people can say ahead of time, I'm going to prepare one on full motion, because I happen to have a soft spot for full motion. So we don't all suddenly prepare the same brochure for one product, rather get a little library of those things going that we can all use. And I think that's the advantage of a group, is that we can share the resources that we create.
Okay, so Andre, on that, I think one of my biggest weaknesses in this whole thing as we shift in our world has been this how to find these things quickly because they sort of disappear into the background of the phone or wherever, and I don't always know where to look for everything. So but what I have now been experimenting with the Team Neolife app, and I have now discovered how to store videos there off YouTube, etc. So if somebody could, if you've got the Team Neolife app and you find out how to do that, maybe Rob, you could do a little bit of looking at how that works, so we can start learning how to find that one place on our phone where we can save everything. Otherwise, you've got to go into documents, a document file or something like that at the back of your phone. Bjorn, you're more good at this than we are. Bjorn, you?
Yeah, I'm here, but I've been distracted, and I need to get back into my social media and all the rest of it.
And you know what? It's okay. It's 100% okay. That's why I keep emphasizing to our upline leaders that we are all part-timers. And but I think then you recognize that you have been distracted and you will get back into it. Andre, can I just then, the next thing we thought we would talk about today was the whole thing of target marketing. So we are in network marketing. Okay, so this is all marketing that we're talking about today. So in this catalog as well, it's very interesting to see how they have targeted. So target marketing means, I suppose you find a niche, Andre, is that what you would call it? You find a particular area that you're going to target. And because we cannot make any claims from a medical perspective, it's a very good idea, I would suggest, that you check out the catalog and see how the company has done it legally. There's nothing that we can be caught out about if we are making claims, which we are not supposed to do, and we should never do, and we don't do. Okay. What we do is that we do look for testimonies, and we give stories of ways that products have worked for people. So, for example, Rob, you gave a brilliant testimony on the use of Fantastic when we had the flood in the house. On the Tina, I think that is Tina who is here today. Her testimony about her sister who's got HIV and took Trenin, unbelievable, the amount of energy the woman got back. And there are so many hundreds of those testimonies. So we use those, and also we need to keep collecting them. But if we go through this, I'm just paging through it. And page 15, detox program. That's a very nice target for people. And especially as we're coming up to spring, people are all detoxing and thinking about how to lose weight, but mostly to get the toxins out of our bodies. We hear terrible things all the time about the damage and harm that's being done to our planet. So they then focus from the detox into the body and the weight loss program. So there is another target which we can focus on in terms of our own marketing. Then, of course, the big one that crosses right the way through is energy. So for the person losing weight, they've put in the Neolife tea and the Neolife bar. You know, sometimes we think that the products are expensive, but let me tell you, the amount of money that people spend on things that are of no value, it makes the product seem cheap after a while. Then the next target is heart health. You want to keep your heart healthy, and of course, most people on the planet that we mix with these days, they are all worrying about the cholesterol and all the things to do with blood pressure and anything to do with managing the health of the heart. So there we have a whole target in here, omega, and a whole page of I probably should have shared this for you. Sorry, I never thought to do that. Magnesium, lipotropic, carotenoid, garlic, vitamin E, and fiber. Then we go to thinking, sharper mind. So these are also words that you need to look out for when people are talking to you. And I have a customer who buys the mind enhancement regularly. I need to get a testimony. She is a doctor and she is studying permanently, constantly. And she finds that and the tea really help her. I wouldn't think of it for myself, but maybe I should. Then we have the masculine and the feminine. Unfortunately, here in South Africa, we don't have the full masculine range, but every man you know should be taking zinc, and they include in there the aloe juice. And for the woman, there's the feminine herbal and the prenatal nutritionals, which then also leads into the whole thing of pregnancy. Then the next big one, it's very interesting as I'm looking through this book how they have planned it. It works very well. They've done it, is sport for energy and fitness. Lots and lots here on the energy and fitness story and the need for full motion, zinc, and omega-3. And of course, the one that we forget so often, and we should do some training on, Andre, is amytone, which they put in here for recovery after having done a lot of exercising. Then after that comes the bone and joint health. You see how they've linked it back into the whole thing of exercise and keeping fit and the need to maintain our joints. I was quite interested to hear from my uncle in the little town where he lives in the UK. They've now got a whole hospital just for knee replacements. First world. And hip replacements. So we need to keep our bones as strong as possible. Then the next target that they've got is digestion. So here, Andre, you're very strong on this with us all the time, on the need for keeping our guts in a good state. So it's fiber, and then the acidophilus, and the stage 6. And then the next target, immune boosting. So by implication, if you follow the gist of all this, is that most of our illnesses and diseases would be very much reduced if we just got our focus back into getting our normal health as strong as possible. 37% increase in 20 days of boost to overall immune function with your carotenoid. And then my next favorite is children. What can we do for helping them to get the right start in life? And as a teacher, and Meryl, you know this as much as I do, if this isn't an area of great, we should all be very, very concerned about what's going on with our children and their health. And then they finish off by you choosing what you need, particularly for yourself. And they put in here the botanical balance for the diabetic or trying to prevent the diabetes from getting out of control. And various things like Formula 4, which, by the way, is a very, very good alternative right now, Formula 4 Plus, as the Pro Vitality is not available. And then from there, there's a focus into our amazing skincare, which I really think we should be promoting more of. And then obviously then finishes off with our personal care products. And then the shampoos, as you spoke about the other day, Bjorn, what a wonderful gift to give to people, actually. And then ends off with the cleaning products. And then the focus that we had last week to finish it off completely is the Super Grow, which in this group, I think we are almost haven't even thought about it up until this point in time. So for a target, if you know anybody who's going up to Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, you need to talk to them about SuperGrow, Congo, and any of the West African countries. People know about it, and it is the biggest plant growth promoter up in that part of the world. And then we still have little things that we keep forgetting, like wash and wax. I mean, people who use wash and wax will go to the moon and back to find it, because it is so economical, and if you've used it a few times, the car starts building up this amazing protection. Same thing as we have found with our Fantastic on our floors here. And of course, the other one is LC30, which we should be looking at more. So that's enough from me today. Any comments from anybody?
Everyone's stum.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, but I think to go through this, I think is a useful exercise.
Well, thanks for that, because I've often wondered about how they laid it out, because the previous catalog layout was completely different. And I still don't exactly follow why they laid it out this way, but it makes a little more sense now.
Yeah, they're linking it, Bjorn. If you look at it carefully, they're linking it from the previous leads into the next. And the interesting thing, they've got lots of testimonies in here. Lots. There's a Tennessee football player, and you know, so when I spoke to you, when I said about testimonies, they're trying to put the proof in with it. On the weight loss, they've got people, skinny people and fat people, and you know, so they are trying to work around the issues. You know, I mean, a whole page is given then to the 2 pages. They also are making it very clear that we as an organization have got social proof that we are giving back to society. And I'm so glad that it's happening in Africa. Andre, you look like you want to say something.
But Monica,
I mean,
Yes, Rob?
I also think that when you have a look at any one of those titles, on any of the social media, if you brave enough, I think, you can try and start conversations with people around those areas. So if you think, okay, I'm going to post something once a week or something like that, then start a conversation, but you don't necessarily push the product. So you've got to find some stuff, that other articles maybe that are related to those headings that they've got in there. And that would be the way to push that particular thought with people. I mean, how often do we start a conversation with someone? Oh, how are your knees?
Do it all the time, Rob. It's very difficult, I know. Yeah, so that's another topic then. So what you can say, somebody start, but let me tell you, if somebody's got sore knees, they're going to tell you before you even ask them, how are you? And then you'll hear it. Or then that's where Andre comes in with your, that line, if I could show you something, would you be interested? Not, have you heard of full motion, which is what Monica would probably do. If I could show you something, would you be interested? Now we're all learning all the time. And they always say yes. So that's when you've got to have your little brochure or your little bit of information ready to send while it's fresh in the mind.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, please do, Meryl.
Just a comment that you made about sore knees. I was talking to a colleague last week, and she's got a child in her class who was in my class last year. This little girl is very overweight, and she's probably about 7. And she's complaining she's got sore knees, but she loves playing netball and she's very sporty. And the teacher's spoken to the mother about the child's weight, and she does not want to hear it. Oh, no, no, we're all like that in this family. It's genetic and blah, 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 blah. But this kid's got sore knees at 7. I mean, hell.
Terrible.
I used to get sore, underneath my foot, or I think it was more my Achilles or whatever when I was young. And that's just sometimes when you're growing. But yeah, no, 7, I mean, you're not really going through a growth spurt. Maybe if they're going through a growth spurt, then you would sort of expect issues around joints.
Meryl, if it's a constant pain, they need to investigate. That would be my advice.
Especially weight loss.
No, it is weight related.
Part of my story was that at 7, I couldn't sleep at night because of pain. They didn't find out what the cause was till I was 12. So they must keep an eye, but definitely get the weight off. We've got 3 minutes. Can I just then, Andre, can I just draw everybody's attention to the what's coming in the near future? So Andre's going, what's coming in the near future, Monica? I can see your face going. No, okay. So Andre and I have been thinking about this idea of another 90-day push. We mentioned it last week already. And one of the ideas that we while we did the whole thing of niches and targeting today, and is to think of from the 1st of September to the end of November gives us another 90 days to end the year on a high. So we need to start thinking about that and preparing for it now in the month of August. All the experts say you need at least 3 to 4 weeks of preparation. So we've got 2.5, 3 minutes to go. So my request to all of you today, teacher mode is kicking in. Meryl, you hear me? Bjorn and Andre are going to start laughing at me just now. Yes, he's rolling his eyes again. Your homework is. But seriously, based on that book, Bjorn, which you were reading, and Andre, you said you're going to reshare for us the author again. You know the one.
Kim Claver.
Kim Claver. Okay. For the 90 days, would you like to think about a particular niche that you might like to target for those 90 days? And how would you go about it? So an obvious one I'm thinking of is possibly children, mothers. So I would think that we need to do a bit of brainstorming around these niches. Maybe somebody would like to target sports people, gyms, exercise. Maybe somebody would like to target energy. I'm just thinking out of the box now, off the top of my head. Where would you feel comfortable targeting? Cleaning products for the 90 days? Okay, I'm asking you to think about where would you like to target for your 90 days? And then possibly, Andre, next week we could maybe flesh out a bit of the Kim Claver.
I think that's important. I think it's one of the most important books that we should read. I think Bjorn would agree with that. It's extremely full of important information, and one of the things is this importance of the niche, where you think and talk about only one aspect for the 90 days, and you get known as an authority on that particular thing. And people who need that information hear you and see you as an authority, and you then create the connections, and then you can broaden their outlook. And then after 90 days, you can choose a new niche. You don't have to stick with the same one forever. So Andre, I'd like to elaborate on that next week, if
perfect.
I may.
So we've got a plan for next week. Have a great week, everyone, and start thinking about your own niche, whether you're in the 90 days or not. Fabulous. Have a lovely day. Thanks, everyone.
Bjorn wants to say something.
No, I was just saying goodbye.
Bye, Bjorn. Do you agree with me about Kim Claver?
Absolutely.